Your website is getting traffic, people are landing on your blog, and almost none of them are turning into actual customers. Sound familiar? Now here's the brutal truth that nobody selling you content wants to admit. Most of the blog posts small businesses publish are written to get clicks, not customers. They rank okay, they pull in a few hundred views, and they generate basically nothing. No calls, no quotes, no sales. But there's one shift in what you write that changes that completely. Not more posts, not more traffic, just different kind of content. And in one documented case study, this kind of content converted about 25 times better than the stuff most businesses are publishing right now. Hi there, it's Adrian Newman from Numero Uno Web Solutions, and in this video, I'm going to show you the one content writing tip that can triple the leads you get from your website without writing a single extra post. So let's get into it. So let's start with why this happens. Why you can have a blog that looks like it's working on paper and still get nothing real out of it. I want you to picture two articles. The first one is 10 tips to keep your home cool this summer. The second one is how much does it cost to install central air in Toronto in 2026? Which one gets more traffic? Well, probably the first one. Way more people search for general tips. But which one gets you the phone call? Well, that's the second one every single time. And here's why. The person reading 10 tips to stay cool might be a renter, might be a student, might be someone who just wants a free hack and has zero intention of ever hiring anybody. But the person searching how much does central air cost in Toronto, well, that person has a hot house. They have a budget and a decision to make. That is a buyer. In a documented analysis by the content agency Grow and Convert, general top of funnel content, that's the tips and how-to stuff, converted at just 0.19%. Their bottom of funnel buyer focused content converted at 4.78%. That's roughly 25 times better. Same website, the only difference was the topic. Read that again. Same company, same website, same writers. The difference wasn't how good the writing was. It was what the content was about. One type pulled in browsers. The other pulled in buyers. And this is a mistake I see constantly. Owners get told just blog consistently and post helpful tips. So they crank out general content that feels productive, that ranks fine and quietly converts nobody. They're busy filling the top of the funnel and they're wondering why the bottom is empty. So here's the tip. This whole video in one sentence. Stop writing content that chases traffic and start writing content that answers the exact questions people ask right before they hand over their money. I call these money questions. There are basically 5 types, and once you see them, you can't unsee them. Cost and price. How much does a kitchen rental cost? What does a personal injury lawyer charge? Bookkeeping prices for small businesses. People are desperate for this and almost nobody answers it honestly. Comparisons. That's the versus question. Tankless versus traditional water heater. Lease versus buy. DIY versus hiring a pro. When someone's comparing two options, they're already in buying mode. They're just deciding how. Best questions. Best roofing material for a cold climate. Best accounting software for a small Canadian business. People who are searching best are building a short list. Be the one who gives the recommendation and you're the expert in the room. Problems and complaints. Why is my furnace leaking water? Common problems with epoxy flooring. These are people who are in pain right now and they're looking for someone who clearly understands their problem. And is it worth it? Is solar worth it in Ontario? Is it worth fixing an old furnace or replacing it? This is somebody standing at the edge of a decision, looking for a nudge from somebody they trust. In that same Grow and Convert data, head-to-head versus comparison pages converted at 5.45%, some of the highest converting content you can build. costs, comparisons, best, problems, is it worth it? Those 5 buckets are where your leads are hiding. Write genuinely useful pages that answer them for your specific business in your specific city, and you pull in people who are ready to act, not people killing time on their lunch break. Let me give you an example. I'm anonymizing this one. It's a composite of a few clients I've seen, but it's exactly how this is going to play out. A home services company came to me frustrated. They've been blogging for a year, stuff like 5 signs, it's time for a tune-up, and how to save energy this winter. They had decent traffic, almost no leads off of any of it, and they were ready to quit content entirely. We didn't add a single post to their schedule. We just changed the topic. So instead of 5 signs, we wrote, how much does a new furnace cost in 2026 installed? Instead of energy tips, we wrote repair or replace when an old furnace isn't worth fixing. Same effort, same number of posts, completely different topics. Within a few months, those new pages were quietly their best lead sources. And not because they got more traffic. In fact, a couple of them actually got less. But because the people who were landing on them were ready to buy. Leads off the blog roughly tripled on the same budget. And that's the whole game. Now, here's the part where I tell you why your competitors aren't doing this, because that's exactly why it works. Most businesses are scared of these topics. They don't want to put prices online. People will just shop on me on price, or my pricing changes and I can't commit to a number. They don't want to write comparison posts because they're nervous about mentioning competitors, and they really don't want to write about the problems or downsides of their own service. So they avoid all of it. And all that silence is your opening. Research from firms like Forrester and Gartner show buyers now get through roughly 70% of their decision before they ever contact a business. Around 80% of decision makers say they'd rather learn about a company from helpful articles than from ads. Think about what that means. By the time someone calls you, they've already researched, compared, and basically made up their mind. So the only question that matters is this. During that 70%, when they're Googling, how much does this cost and is this company any good? Are they finding your answer? Or are they finding your competitors? Or nothing at all? There's a phrase that I love for this. They ask, you answer. If a customer asks it on a sales call or it's in your email inbox, that's a piece of content. The questions you're already answering one-on-one, 10 times a week on the phone, answer them once, publicly, on your website. Now, they work for you around the clock. And let me be blunt about this price thing, because it's one that a lot of people fight me on most. You're not losing the customer by listing your price. The customer who walks because of your price was never going to hire you anyway. What you're doing is you're earning trust with the people who can afford you, who see the value by being the one business straight enough to actually tell them. Now, quick thing before I show you how to write these so that they actually convert. If this video is useful so far, please hit that subscribe button. I put out practical marketing for small business owners every single week, no fluff. So let's get back to it. Okay, you know what to write about. Now, let's make sure these pages actually turn readers into leads, because a great topic written badly still won't convert. There are 4 rules. 1, answer the question in the first sentence. Don't bury the number under 3 paragraphs about the history of furnaces. If the title asks, how much does it cost? The first line gives a real range. Respect their time, and they will trust you. 2, be honest, even when it's not flattering. If the real answer is, it depends, here's when it's worth it and here's when it isn't, well, just say that. The fastest way to build trust online is to tell somebody when your service is not the right fit. It makes everything else you say more believable. 3, 1 clear next step. This is hugely important. I've talked about this before. Every page ends with a single obvious call to action, not 5 options. So it's going to be just one. It could be get a free quote, book a 15-minute call, check if we serve your area. It doesn't matter. They just got their answer. They're warm. Tell them exactly what to do next. And 4, make it skimmable. short paragraphs, subheadings that are themselves questions, a quick summary near the top or the bottom. Half your readers are on their phone. They're scanning and deciding in seconds whether you're worth their time. Do those 4 things on a money question topic and you've built something that earns leads for years. Not a post that spikes for a week and dies. A real asset that keeps working long after you hit publish. Okay, now here's the bonus and why this matters more in 2026 than it did even just 2 years ago. If you've seen my other videos, you know search is changing fast. Google's putting AI answers at the top of the page. People are asking ChatGPT and Gemini full questions instead of just typing keywords. And those AI tools don't pull answers out of thin air. They pull from content that clearly and directly answers a specific question, which is exactly the content we just talked about. When you write a clear, honest page answering how much does this cost or is it worth it, you're not just converting the humans who read it, you're handing the AI the exact format it wants to cite. The same content that triples your leads today is the content most likely to get your name mentioned when someone asks an AI for a recommendation tomorrow. So this isn't just a quick win. It's where search is heading. The businesses writing real answers to real buyer questions are going to own their categories in Google and in AI, while everyone else is still posting the 10 tips that nobody reads. So let's bring it home. You want more leads from your website without writing more content? Here's the move. Stop chasing traffic. Start answering the questions people ask right before they buy. Cost, comparisons, best, problems, is it worth it? Answer them honestly, answer fast, give one clear next step, and make them easy to read. So here's your one job. Pick a single money question your customers ask you all the time and go write that page. Just the one page. You're going to feel the difference faster than you think. And since we got into AI search at the end there, that's exactly where you should go next. I made a full video on how to get your business found and cited by ChatGPT and Google's AI, and it's called Small Business AI Rankings, the strategy that actually works. And it's a perfect follow-up to this video. I link it right here. Go watch it, and I'll see you in the next one.